By this point, we've created a 3D cube that's rotating in different axes. We've set up some lights pointing at it, and we've established all this. Now, we're gonna go one step further. Let's create a plane. A plane will allow us to have a surface upon which things will be able to exist. So for example, you could have characters standing on a plane, or you could place NFT tokens. Anything that we have, we establish it over a plane. It's not just floating in simple space. So we're gonna now create a plane. So let's go back to the code, and we will find here we have the lights, here we have the cube, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a space, this flat space. The way that we're gonna do is between the lights and the cube, we're gonna create a section here. And actually, let me establish. We're going to set up a flat space, ready? In this metaverse, okay, of the metaverse. Here we go. Perfect. So once we've got that, let's establish it. The way we do it is actually quite easy. What we really do is we do something very similar with what we did with our cube. Why? Because at the end of the day, a cube is very similar to a flat space. We just change the dimensions, we change the heights, we change the width, how deep it goes, and we can set it all together. That's exactly how we're gonna do it. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's set up the first variable. The first one's the geometry of the space. I'm gonna set it's actually a new to the 3-dot box geometry, okay? Same thing we did before with the cube, but we're gonna use it differently. Let's set some parameters in here, which are gonna be for the flat space we're putting. So let's put it's 100, 0.2, and 50. This is the height, the width, and okay, the depth. Here we go. Beyond that, we have to set up another constant, which is gonna be the material for this space. Let's define that. The material we're gonna do is, if we go here, we got the 3, and we got, let's use the same, the mesh Fung material, the same thing we did for our cube. We're gonna do that here. And let's set up the color for this space that we're setting up. So let's set up the space for this flat space that we're doing. We're gonna go here, we put the color is gonna be defined exactly the FFFFF, which is the same, it's white. So that's what we're gonna use for this one, okay? Now, moving forward, we need to establish also this space. We need to also determine a combination of these things. And what we're gonna do is 3-dot the mesh, and we're gonna combine the geometry of the box, of the space, yes, and the material. So we got the space and the material together. Geometry and the material together. So now we've configured it. Now what we need to do is add it to the scene. So we go to the scene, we scene add the space, and now let's see where else we go. We've got the configuration for this space. Now we need to establish a camera that will allow us to look at this space that we've just created. So in order to establish that camera, all we need to do is let's take here below the cube. We're gonna set up right now camera. Let's put up the position for this camera, and we're gonna set it now. Now establish where exactly this camera is gonna be. This will tell us exactly where this camera will be pointing. So let's put some examples. It's gonna be at 10, 5, and 40. That's gonna be where the camera's in, okay? And let's see how it looks inside the metaverse. At this point, I hit save, and I go over to the actual, oh, there's a flat space. You see? We've got the spinning cube, but we've also got this space that we just created. It's not perfect, but it's a first step. We need to change these colors, and let's change it so it actually looks prettier now. So we just set up a flat space. We've got this cube that's rotating, but we know we created that. Now let's polish it and make it better. Going back to the code, let's make some changes. If we go back up to the top, we see here, let's change the background because we had commented out the background. Let's change the background and actually put it in that really beautiful little color that we chose, okay? A lot nicer. And we're gonna go through, let's see what it looks like. A lot better. Looks a lot more like a metaverse that we probably would wanna use. A lot friendlier. Let's go back to the code and let's change. What else do we wanna do? Let's change the ambient light. Instead of actually calling it in the number we had, let's change it to BDA355. It's a very, very nice color. Now let's change the direction light as well. And now we're gonna change that to white. FFFFF, okay? Let's take a look. Now it's a lot nicer. You see, it's a lot more adapted. We're able to customize it our way. So we're getting more into the line of what we want and friendlier to what we want for our users. That's what we want. So now we have a rotating object inside that. So let's go back. Here we're looking at the animation we set up. You see, we have this cube that's rotating on a regular basis. So every once in a while, it just rotates on two different axes, on X and on Y. We created all of this ourselves. We have full control of this metaverse we're developing. And in the next lesson, we're going to create more objects which are going to be rotating on their axes, all using this flat space that we have created.